You've heard of haunted hospitals, but what if the wards were never haunted? What if they were sealed to keep something inside? In the shadows of Turkey's forgotten institutions, 4 exorcism protocols were buried. Not Christian, not Islamic, something older. Djinn called through ink, bound behind mirrors, whispered through domes, and burned into names. Each case was sealed, each witness disappeared, each story erased, until now. Recovered from abandoned files and forbidden footage, these are the Djinn Protocols of Anatolia. The files were locked. The protocol was erased, but one page survived. A list of names, unfinished, until someone starts writing again. And the moment they do, the names write themselves and vanish one by one, including the last one on the list, the writer.
Don't do this to me.
After the 1980 military coup, Elazığ Mental Hospital's northern wing was shuttered. But before it closed, a secret trial was run by military psychiatrists, testing forbidden rituals coded as Protocol 0. All data was purged, except one unmarked box, found in 2023 by an archivist named Ece.
Don't write.
Inside the box, dozens of redacted case files, but one notebook blank, until Ece writes her own name on the cover. Then, line by line, names begin to appear in black ink, and next to them, timestamps, all in reverse order, counting down. Hours after writing her name, Ece's colleague Mert, the first name on the list, vanishes. Security footage shows him staring at a blank wall, eyes wide, whispering, "I'm not next." Then static. Then nothing.
0.
The notebook leads Anis to a sealed corridor, Ward 0, a concrete hallway behind the surgical wing. Scratched into the metal door. When protocol is completed, silence begins.
You only saw half of it.
Inside Ward 0, dozens of files, each marked with a different name. Each name matches those in the notebook. But the last file is blank. Only Ece's initials are on the cover, and the page inside begins to fill itself with her memories. In a sealed envelope, a sheet titled Protocol 0, Call by my name, Close by my prayer. It describes a ritual, half prayer, half invocation, meant to contact a voice beyond silence, but only if the writer agrees to finish the list.
Keep going.
Terrified, Ece burns the notebook, but the fire won't catch. The ink resists flame. Instead, it bleeds.
Don't burn. Write.
Each name now fades one by one, and the countdown accelerates. Ece's name glows last. A digital timer she never wrote now appears beside it. 1:44:12 to 1:44:11 to 1:44:10.
If you write another one, you won't be 0.
Ece tries to outsmart the list. She writes a fictional name. It disappears, but the countdown doesn't stop. Instead, she hears the name whispered outside her door, and the lights flicker.
Wrong name.
Desperate, she sets up cameras, but each feed dies exactly 47 seconds before a name vanishes. A still is recovered from one, a figure made of shifting script, standing behind the victim.
You wrote half of it. We will finish the other half.
Only 2 names remain, and one is already smudging, but the last name is clear. E.J. Demir. Underneath, it says it was signed. She blacks out. When she wakes, the journal is gone. And on her apartment wall, the list is now carved in deep ink. The last line is filling itself in, letter by letter.
Completed.
1 week later, her live stream account uploads a final video. A blank screen. But under the waveform, faint whispers of new names. Names not yet written. Names of viewers.
You will write too.
If you ever find a name that wasn't there yesterday, in your notebook, on your wall, in your dreams, don't write it. Because once the ink dries, they see you. And the only way out is to finish the list. They thought they erased it, that no one would ever open the file again. But Protocol Zero always finishes what it begins. Some spirits reach through ink and ritual. Others, through silence. Far from the buried files of Alez, an old asylum waits behind rusted gates in Istanbul. No documents, no survivors. Only one room remained sealed, and in it, a mirror that never forgot who looked into it, and who smiled too early. Welcome to Ward M. Bakirköy, Istanbul, 1972. His stream didn't cut off. It kept running for 47 minutes after he disappeared. No sound, no movement, just a static shot of an old wall-mounted mirror, and behind the fogged glass, a face, too pale, too still, and smiling, even when the room was empty.
He's still here.
Bakırköy Mental Hospital. A century of patience, 1,000 closed rooms, but only one was removed from records entirely. Ward M, sealed in 1972. No documentation, no blueprint, no surviving staff willing to speak. The only clue? An incident. One patient, a 16-year-old girl named Selin Akbaş, committed for dissociation, compulsive silence, and visual hallucinations. But she didn't speak to people. She spoke only to her mirror. In 1972, Selin was placed in room 11, a simple cell, bed, sink, wall mirror. She never looked away from the glass. Nurses noted whispered sounds during the night, though Selin never opened her mouth. She began to imitate gestures before they happened, mimicking reflections before the patient across from her moved. Then came the final entry, a nurse's report about her.
Found her kneeling, eyes gone, no blood, smiling at the mirror, glass fogged, words scratched backward, I see them.
50 years later, In 2022, a horror influencer named Michael Tate came to Istanbul for a live stream stunt. His channel, Night Circuit, was known for haunted live streams. He teased a video, spending one night in the asylum they shut down without a reason. Ward M Challenge. He entered through a breach in the fence, crossed through the surgical wing, and found a door. Rusted, locked, but marked with an M scratched in flaking red paint. Behind it, room 11.
He started a live stream at 11:02 p.m. He sat in front of the mirror, goofed around, made jokes.
Say your name 3 times, right? Seal in, seal in, seal in.
Then he froze. So did the stream, but the timer kept running. The chat began to notice something. The delay. He blinked, but the reflection didn't. Not immediately.
You see with your eyes, but she sees you without eyes.
At 11:16 p.m., the feed glitched. Only once. But in that frame, a second figure stood behind Michael, long, pale, with no face. He turned. There was no one, but the reflection remained, now smiling and moving on its own. At exactly 3:09 a.m., the stream cut to black. Michael was never seen again. No footage was recovered. But those watching reported something chilling. A final whisper. Not in English, not in Turkish, but in them. The watchers, the forgotten, the mirrored.
Now you see us. Now we see you.
Room 11 is still sealed. No mirror remains, but sometimes a new one appears. In another building, another ward, another home. And someone, somewhere, stares into it too long. Their reflection lags, their breath fogs the glass, and the smile returns. Always one smile, too early.
Don't blink this time.
If you ever stare too long into a mirror that seems wrong, where breath fogs too quickly, where reflections move too slow, where a smile isn't quite yours, remember, they live through sight, they reach through silence, and now they've seen you.
The mirror sees who you are. The names know what you've done. Selin Akbash whispered through the glass, but in Gaziantep's forgotten hills, the voices rise through flame. Sealed in an abandoned military rehabilitation center, a cursed registry was burned, not to destroy it, but to summon what lived between its lines. Names scratched in reverse, pages that bleed, and a chant that finishes itself when the final name is spoken. Would you dare read what was never meant to be written? The burned names are waiting. Nordai, Gaziantep, classified archives, unknown year.
We know your name. Call their names if you dare.
Perched on a windswept hill outside Nurdagi, the dilapidated military rehabilitation center looms like a mausoleum abandoned by time. Its concrete shell cracked and stained, windows shattered or darkened by decades of neglect. Wild ivy snakes over rusted fences, clutching the broken gates as if to keep something locked inside. The sky churns with thunderclouds gathering ominously overhead, casting long, distorted shadows across the overgrown grounds where forgotten memories and darker secrets entwine. This was once a place where children were meant to heal, but many who entered never found peace. Instead, they were swallowed by silence and shadow.
Thousands of war orphans and abandoned children passed through these halls. Some carried physical wounds. Many more bore invisible scars deeper than flesh. But the true darkness here was something else entirely. An unspoken terror woven through whispered stories and hushed warnings passed from caretaker to caretaker. Rumors told of children who vanished into shadows, voices that echoed without source, and strange marks scrawled in desperate hands. Yet none dared speak openly of the names that bound something ancient and restless.
Behind a rusted, barred door lies the archives room, sealed for decades, forgotten by all but the shadows. Inside, scattered piles of brittle parchment cover every surface. Their edges are charred and curled, as though they barely survived a fire meant to erase them. But the ink, dark, thick, and unnatural, glows faintly as if alive, its deep crimson veins pulsing like a heartbeat beneath the paper's surface. Each page is a record of names, hastily written in the swirling elegance of Arabic calligraphy, smudged by time but never fading. These names are not merely words, they are chains, spells meant to hold something trapped beneath the dust and silence.
Each name was written with trembling fear, each a lock forged in ink and flame to cage the restless djinn prowling just beyond mortal sight. But every lock is also a key. Every name spoken aloud can unravel the fragile veil that holds the dark things at bay. To read these names is to play with forces no living soul should dare touch, and to write them is to risk everything.
Among the countless files, one stands apart, a blackened folder marked with the word Muhurlu, sealed tight as a tomb. Inside lies the story of Layla, a girl whose presence haunts the building like a wound that never heals. Her file is smudged and stained, her name scratched out and rewritten so many times it's nearly illegible. At the very end, a single chilling phrase is etched backward in desperate haste. O bini çağırmadı. She called me. Tucked inside the black folder is a dusty, worn cassette tape labeled Layla Son Kayıt, Last Recording. When played, the tape crackles to life with a disturbing mix of sounds, frantic whispered names, an eerie, childlike voice calling Anne, Mother, and the faintest hint of unseen footsteps. But beneath the surface lurks something more sinister, a voice just beyond comprehension, speaking in a tongue that twists the mind and chills the soul. Locals living near the rehab center whisper of voices carried on the wind after dusk. They say a list is chanted in the dead of night, not prayers, but a litany of names, each one unlocking a door to the beyond. Those who hear the chanting know they have been marked, for calling a name is to call what lies beneath, and once called, no one remains unchanged. In the summer of 2023, a group of urban explorers hungry for forgotten mysteries trespassed into the rehab center. Equipped with cameras and flashlights, they document their search for hidden rooms and secrets. Unaware of the forces watching from the dark corners, they delve deeper into the building's black heart. Their luck runs out when they stumble upon the sealed archives room. Inside, the air is thick with decay and something older, something waiting. One explorer, driven by curiosity or madness, reads aloud from a charred, fragile page. Suddenly, the lights flicker violently, and a dark shadow darts behind the group, unseen but felt. Technology fails. Phones glitch. Cameras distort. The whispers crescendo into screams only the mind can hear. Objects tremble, move, even disappear. Cold spots chill the blood, and a presence, unseen but palpable, presses close.
Panic erupts when one explorer vanishes without a trace. A scream pierces the darkness, then silence. The remaining members search, but find nothing but burning ashes and a single torn page fluttering on the floor. The rehab is sealed once more, condemned by law and fear. But the names, burned yet unforgotten, linger in the wind. Whispers of Layla and the others ride the night air, waiting for the next ears to hear and lips to speak their cursed words. If you come across a name, you cannot read it aloud. Do not read it, because speaking the name is opening a door you cannot close, and once the name is spoken, they will come for you.
We see you.
Some names burn when read aloud. Others whisper themselves, even when you cover your ears. Deep in the black pine forests of Garrison, an old dome lies buried beneath stone and soil. Once a women's psychiatric ward, now silenced by time. But inside, something still speaks, not with words, not with mirrors, but with breath. Carved prayers echo back as different voices, and those who enter the circle don't leave with their own. This is not a place you visit. It's a place that listens back. Kayadibi Village, the Whispering Dome. Whispers echo through the night. A dome sealed tight, its walls alive with prayer and fear. Voices answered by nothing or something else. A call unanswered becomes a scream trapped in silence. And the dome listens, waiting, responding.
High above Kayadibi village, hidden among thick forests and swirling mists, stands the ancient Kayadibi Women's Mental Hospital, now abandoned for decades. At its center, a mysterious circular dome sealed by countless prayers and rituals. Locals say the dome holds restless spirits, trapped souls, and unseen voices forever caught between worlds. The dome was built to contain a darkness unlike any other. Voices inside answered prayers, but also whispered back curses. Patients inside heard conversations not of this world, voices only they could perceive. No one dared enter without protection. Dua, the sacred prayers, were the only barrier holding the unseen at bay.
Women admitted here reported hearing voices that spoke in riddles and commands. The voices mimicked prayers but twisted their meanings into threats. Some patients repeated the words endlessly, their minds breaking as the whispers grew louder. Others fell silent, staring at the dome's walls as if listening for something just beyond hearing.
Priests and local healers performed daily rituals, prayers repeated around the dome's circumference using holy water and sacred verses. Each ritual was meant to keep the whispers contained. Breaking the circle meant madness, possession, or worse. The dome's seal was fragile, dependent on faith, repetition, and silence.
In 2024, a skeptic and paranormal researcher named Deniz Yilmaz arrived from Istanbul. She sought scientific explanations for the stories, whispers, madness, and unexplained phenomena. Armed with recording devices and skepticism, she entered the village and aimed to breach the dome's mysteries. Denise's devices captured strange audio, voices answering her questions in languages unknown, rhythmic whispers responding to prayers. At night, faint chanting echoed from the dome, as if the walls themselves were speaking. Her recordings revealed voices overlapping prayers, sometimes pleading, sometimes mocking. Objects shifted when no one was watching. Lights flickered, cold drafts swept through rooms. Denise felt a presence observing her, something aware and reactive. Attempts to communicate by calling prayers aloud produced chilling responses from the dome. As days passed, the whispers grew louder and more coherent, voices responding not just with echoes, but with intent. They whispered secrets, names of the village, private thoughts, and forbidden truths. Deniz's recordings began to distort. Her equipment malfunctioned with increasing frequency. Village elders warned Denise to leave before she became part of the whispers herself. They told stories of those who ignored the dome's voices, how they vanished or were driven mad, trapped forever inside the echoes. Denise, skeptical yet unnerved, prepared to leave, but the dome had other plans. On her last night, Denise recorded a prayer circle at the dome's base. The voices answered in an unnatural chorus, now unmistakably aware of her presence. Her final recording captured a chilling phrase repeated over and over. "Sende bizimlesin, you are with us now." Denise disappeared without trace. Her recordings were found scattered near the dome's entrance, tapes damaged, voices twisted beyond recognition. Locals avoid the dome, speaking only in hushed tones of the whispering dome and those who dared listen. If you ever hear a whisper answering your prayers, if a voice calls your name from nowhere, do not reply. Some echoes are traps, and the dome is always listening. 4 forgotten wards, 4 sealed reports, 4 protocols that should never have been opened again. Mirrors, burned names, whispered domes, lists that write themselves. And now the echoes have returned. Through your screen, through your silence, they've heard you listening, and somewhere in the dark corners of your reflection, they wait for your name.
You've already heard them, so don't break the silence. Subscribe to Mr. Nightsong for more forbidden files, buried rituals, and true horror from the shadows of Anatolia. And whatever you do, don't forget what you heard here, because they won't.